You will hear a lecturer giving a talk about everyday life during the Second World War. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now, listen carefully and answer.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to look at an aspect of the Second World War that is sometimes overlooked. When people study this period, they often concentrate on battles, military leaders, aircraft, ships, and major political decisions. However, the war also had an enormous effect on ordinary people who were living far away from the battlefields. So today, we'll focus particularly on life on what historians often call the home front. Let's begin with some basic historical background. The Second World War began in Europe in 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. Britain and France then declared war on Germany. Over the following years, the conflict expanded dramatically and eventually involved countries from many different parts of the world. Although millions of soldiers served in the armed forces, the effects of the war were certainly not limited to military personnel. Millions of ordinary civilians also experienced major changes to their daily lives. For many families, the war affected almost everything: the food they ate, the jobs they did, where their children lived, and even the way they received information. Let's look first at food and everyday supplies. Because ships, trucks, factories, and farms were increasingly being used to support the war effort, governments had to find ways of controlling the distribution of important goods. One of the most significant measures was rationing. Instead of allowing people to buy as much food as they wanted, governments limited the quantities of certain products that each person could purchase. Families were often given ration books or coupons, which they had to present when buying controlled goods. The aim was to make sure that limited supplies were shared more fairly across the population. However, rationing also meant that families had to become much more careful about how they used food. People were encouraged not to waste anything, and governments ran public campaigns showing families how to prepare nutritious meals using relatively small amounts of meat, sugar, butter, and other ingredients. Another important government campaign encouraged people to produce some of their own food. Families who had suitable land were advised to grow vegetables in their own gardens. Lawns and flower beds were sometimes converted into small vegetable plots, and people grew crops such as potatoes, carrots, onions, and beans. This was particularly valuable because imported food could be difficult to obtain during wartime. It wasn't only food that became scarce. Certain everyday products, including sugar, meat, and clothing, became more difficult to obtain. People therefore learned to repair old clothes rather than immediately replacing them. Fabric was valuable, and many families reused material from older garments to make something new. This culture of repairing and reusing goods became an important part of wartime life. Now, another major social change involved the role of women. Before the war, many industrial jobs were mainly performed by men. But as large numbers of men joined the armed forces, employers suddenly faced serious labor shortages. As a result, large numbers of women began working in factories that produced equipment needed for the war. Some manufactured aircraft components, while others worked on vehicles, machinery, ammunition, or communication equipment. For many women, this was their first experience of full-time industrial employment. Their contribution wasn't limited to manufacturing. Women also served as nurses and drivers and became members of several support services. Some worked in communications, administration, transport, or emergency organizations. These roles were essential because they allowed more men to serve in combat positions while ensuring that important work continued at home. The war therefore changed public attitudes towards women's employment, although many of those changes remained complicated after the conflict ended. Next, let's consider children. For families living in major cities, bombing created a serious danger. Governments were particularly concerned about children living in areas that were likely to be attacked from the air. As a result, many children were evacuated from large urban centers and moved to the countryside for safety. The idea was that rural areas would be less likely to experience heavy bombing. For the children involved, however, evacuation could be an emotional experience. Some traveled with their schools, while others traveled with brothers or sisters. Many carried small bags containing clothes and personal belongings, and younger children often had identification labels attached to them. When they arrived at their destination, they were placed with local families. This meant that many children stayed with people they had never met before. Some children had positive experiences and were treated almost as members of the family. Others found the separation from their parents extremely difficult. And of course, communication was much slower than it is today. There were no mobile phones, email services, or video calls. This brings us to the final part of today's talk: communication and public information. During the war, the radio became one of the most important ways for families to receive news. People gathered around household radios to listen to government announcements, speeches, reports about military events, and information about air raids. Newspapers remained important as well, but radio had one major advantage: information could reach millions of people almost immediately. Families also listened to entertainment programs and music, which offered some relief from the anxiety of wartime life. Governments understood how powerful mass communication could be. Posters appeared in railway stations, factories, shops, and public buildings. Films were also shown to inform people about safety, conservation, military production, and national campaigns. But these messages were not only designed to provide practical information. Governments also used posters, radio broadcasts, and films to maintain public morale. Officials understood that years of uncertainty, shortages, separation, and bombing could seriously affect people's confidence. Messages therefore encouraged citizens to remain calm, work together, avoid unnecessary waste, and believe that their contribution mattered. So, to summarize, life on the home front involved enormous social and economic changes. Food and other goods were controlled through rationing. Families grew vegetables at home. Women entered factories and support services in unprecedented numbers. Children were moved away from dangerous cities, and radio became central to both information and public morale. These experiences remind us that the Second World War was not only fought by soldiers on battlefields. It also transformed the everyday lives of millions of people at home.